gonna lie to y'all, I don't really have a docket or schedule that I use for these videos. I just browse through my library and Game Pass and go, oh, that looks neat, and then I just play that, record footage, and then take notes for the script. I should probably get that ironed out for the future. Anyway, my lack of professionalism and interest-based topic selection led me to covering this video entry, Bloodstained Ritual tonight. I initially bought into it back when the hype surrounding it was during the Kickstarter boom of the mid to late 2010s. You know, where we saw announcements of stuff like Shovel Knight, Mighty No. 9, Purple Bleak. Weren't expecting that deep cut, were ya? And more! The announcement of Bloodstained was under similar circumstances as Mighty No. 9, a creator that worked on a beloved franchise who had left their respective company because they felt the property they were working on wasn't getting the respect that it deserved. The difference is that while Mega Man has since returned in recent years and Mighty No. 9 has gone on to become the epitome of disappointment and mismanagement, Konami has pivoted away from games for the most part, with the exception being a slew of Silent Hill games that were announced last year. But nothing for Castlevania. This is to be expected because there hasn't been all new Castlevania-related anything since Lords of Shadow 2 game-wise. And while we did get the godlike Castlevania series on Netflix, by the way, I am so hyped for the new one coming out, we haven't gotten a fix of vampire slaying goodness in some time. And before any of you ask, no, I'm afraid I can't count the rather stellar Return to Castlevania expansion that came out from Dead Cells earlier this year. I'm talking full-on new mainline Castlevania game. That's where Koji Igarashi, one of the developers behind ushering in the second half of Metroidvania as a subgenre, came in and, like a ridiculous motherfucker, announced he was making a new game inspired by the Castlevania games that he worked on. These include such great hits as Aria of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia, and there's something else I'm missing here. Oh, that's right, motherfucking Symphony of the Night. This was how we unveiled Bloodstained, and it went on to be a massive crowdfunding success. Sound familiar? I know, I'm getting there. But the difference here is that while Mighty No. 9 was a source of much derision, Bloodstained showed up, did what it intended to do, refused to elaborate, and left. That's not true, it actually did some interesting stuff. I just had to do what I did with the Mega Man 11 video here because I felt it was necessary to add some background context. With all of that out of the way, grab your monster killing implement of choice and polish off a crystal because I'm Hamoud Adnan and I'm here to finally tell you what's good about Bloodstained Ritual tonight. Believe it or not, there's actually a story to this. The setup goes as such. A long-ass time ago, there was this group called the Alchemists Guild, and they were masters of arcane power, which sounds more like magic, but I digress. When the times changed, rather than adapt to society, they did what any reasonable institution in power does. Engage in unethical human experimentation that infuses young people with demonic power, who are called shardbinders, so they can all be sacrificed and open a portal to hell. In the ensuing nonsense, only 2 shardbinders are left alive. Miriam, our recently awakened protagonist, and Jeeble, our antagonist. Jeeble is now the lord of the freshly popped-up Demon Castle and is up to Miriam with the help of her longtime friend Johannes to figure out why Jeeble is doing what he's doing and to stop the impending demon invasion. If any of this sounds familiar, then congratulations, you've experienced a Castlevania story. Not that there's anything wrong with that. While it plays itself seriously, it still allows for some noticeable goofiness when things are portrayed, and the voice cast is game for it. Chief among them being the scenery-chewing Zangetsu, voiced by David Hayter, and the librarian you meet later on, voiced by Robert Belgrade, in a fun Easter egg. As for the gameplay, well, if you've been paying attention, then you know that it's an Iga-style Castlevania game through and through. You run, you jump, and you use various elements of death like swords, knives, whips, axes, spears, and even guns to take on the demon-infested castle. This is a game I weirdly noticed that I actually played quite a bit of on another platform, namely when it was on the console version of Game Pass, but for the purposes of getting footage, picked it up on PC. And let me tell you, it shows because goddamn, this game in nearly hours is unforgiving. A lot of this is due primarily to there being a lack of abilities, gear, and levels to allow for making it to the castle, but as time goes on, it does get easier. But this is best showcased in the second boss fight. First, I tried to fight him normally, and then I died. And then I swapped my weapon and tried again. I died again. Then I restocked my inventory and tried and died again. Then I did all of the above and killed the boss finally, before I realized I wasn't recording. Because curse you past Mo. There's also the shard system, which is basically the soul system from Aria of Sorrow. And when I mean basically, I should be saying 1-to-1. You got projectiles, summons, abilities that make traversal easier, passives that improve the stats of specific weapons, and even massive screen clearing AoEs. I'm not against it, I love that system in Aria of Sorrow when it's implemented well here. There are even books you can read that can give you special moves with motion inputs that are super strong but take up mana to use. It's a neat little bonus feature. There's also a crafting system for food items that give stat bumps, healing items, and even a weapon and armor crafting system. I don't use those systems because that's a lot of extra stuff that you can keep track of that can just be easily bought, and I get confused when it comes to tracking recipes. That's not even getting into the extra gameplay stuff that was added over the years, like a boss rush mode, a reverse boss rush mode where you play as the various bosses against a souped up Miriam, a version of the game where you play as Sengetsu, retro modes that make it more like the NES Castlevania games, and more. And then there's the music, which was done by, of course, Michiru Yamane, so it goes about as hard as you would expect it to. Fun fact, on top of doing the soundtracks for both Bloodstained and Symphony of the Night, she was also lead composer on Skullgirls. The music there is good too. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a great Metroidvania that manages to hold up well in the face of its contemporaries. While I prefer Metroid Dread in terms of a pioneering series coming back to show the young bloods how it's done, Iga and his team did a damn good job making the exact game they said they were going to make. And since we haven't gotten a new Castlevania game in a while, I'll fucking take that. And that will be it for this week's video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.